Does breastfeeding or pumping hurt? Is it supposed to hurt? Technically, no. It shouldn't hurt, but for many moms it does hurt. So there's a lot of things that impact on that. So the first thing to keep in mind is to remember that pain is our body's message to us. So if you are experiencing breastfeeding discomfort, it's your body's sign that something needs to change. That's the first thing. The second thing to remember is that after birth, a large percentage, probably the majority of moms, are on pain relief, so analgesia, and that dampens their pain sensation. So a lot of moms will have comfortable breastfeeding for the first few days, and then as soon as they go home and their drips are down and they don't have intravenous pain relief, they start on oral pain relief. It doesn't have the same effect, or they're forgetting their painkillers. The pain can increase significantly. It doesn't mean that it's new pain, it just means that their body is letting them know in a way that it didn't when they were on stronger pain relief. And so the pain is a sign that something needs to change. When it comes to a pump or a flange, usually the flange size then needs to be adjusted, so very, very important. When it comes to the baby, sometimes it's just the latch that needs to be changed. If you're struggling with a latch that is not comfortable, but you've been using the same position since the baby was born, then it's useful trying a different position. So sometimes if the two of you are getting used to doing it together, a different position can actually help you reach a more comfortable breastfeeding latch. Something that's helpful to remember is that if your baby latches and it's very painful, that you take your little finger and you pop it into the corner of your baby's mouth and break the latch. So you break the vacuum and you start again. If you have to do that 5 times, 6 times until you get a comfortable latch. When the latch is comfortable, it means the tissue isn't being damaged. If the latch is painful and it continues to be painful, it usually means that tissue damage is happening. If there was previous tissue damage and the baby's latched, it might be uncomfortable or painful for a few seconds and then the pain disappears. So it could be that the latch is getting better, but your nipples are still needing to heal. So it's helpful to keep that in mind. Now and again, babies have very strong or tight frenulum, or they call it tethered oral tissue under the tongue, and those babies very often struggle to latch. So if you think of trying to talk with your tongue that's stuck in the bottom of your mouth, it's difficult to talk, it's difficult to latch, and it's difficult to keep the nipple there. So people often say to me, yeah, my baby can stick their tongue out. It's not about extension, it's about elevation. And so if there's a little piece of frenulum that is attached almost to the tip of the tongue, the baby can't elevate the tongue to capture the nipple and the areola and move along with the nipple in the mouth. So that it loses the nipple, grabs it again, and that to the mom, a mom will often describe that as feeling like sandpaper. And so that will need a clinician to assess it and then decide on an intervention. But very often, if it's well assessed, then the intervention can make a big difference for the mom.